Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Friday the 13th, 2020 here in March. Guys, already almost halfway through the month of March. It just feels like we just got into March. A little bit of news to talk about Grand Solar Minimum related. Let's first start off with solar wind speed sitting right around the 414 kilometers per second, with a density a lot lower than what we were talking about yesterday, but density is 4.1. Sun is blank once again. That makes now 3 days in a row without sunspots. 53 for the year for 2020. 72% of the year so far without sunspots. Very much intact with solar minimum conditions. I know a lot of people thought the sun was going to switch on. And I can tell you right now, it looks like, for the long haul anyway, let's check out at the grandsolarminimum.com, the space weather page here for us. And just wanted to show you what we have on tap possibly in the future as far as sunspots go. And right now, it looks pretty quiet. Look up there at the latitude 30. This would be an indication of solar cycle 25, but this is just right behind the eastern limb. So we should know by tomorrow if this will be qualified as a sunspot. As you see, this was the sunspot we just had. It got as high as sunspot number 13 and is quickly decayed. It's no longer a sunspot. So we'll see if this even amounts to anything. If not, then we don't really have anything beyond that as well. So minimum conditions look very, very likely over the next several days, unless this next sunspot region or this active region turns into a sunspot. But it would indicate that it is part of solar cycle 25 if that should happen. All right, let's move along to some of our articles tonight. We'll start at the Watchers, as we usually do. Destructive sinkholes forming in Gauteng, swallowing homes and roads in South Africa. Numerous sinkholes are forming in the Kutsong suburb outside of Carletonville, West Rand, South Africa, in the Gauteng province, swallowing homes and roads. As a result, more than 25,000 residents could soon be forced to evacuate and be transferred to government subsidy houses. The region is well known for its karst landscape and numerous sinkholes since the 1950s. People have been living in fear as sinkholes have been posing threats to the area for weeks now. The recent sinkhole has already swallowed a huge portion of land, damaging properties and infrastructure. However, there were families who still refused to leave. The incident is being blamed on officials' negligence. Of geologists reports that the soil in the area was likely to collapse. Community leaders expressed their grievances over local Mafrong City municipality for ignoring the warnings for years. Community leader Elias Sotetsi, I think that's how it's pronounced, accused the municipality of waiting for people to die inside their homes before taking action, finally deciding to replace the old water pipes. They kept it a secret, he said, and did nothing about it. They thought that these sinkholes were not going to spread. Unfortunately, they are spreading worse now and eating our homes. What are they waiting for? They must simply replace those old asbestos pipes with new materials and allow people to live in peace. Several houses, roads, and streets have already vanished in some places. Sewer pipes were also affected, leaving a stench over the area. Some people have turned the sinkholes into dumping sites, while some abandoned their houses that were being devoured by sinkholes little by little. Heavy rains also making the situation worse. What was I going to say here? They're putting garbage in the sinkholes to try to fill them. Not really working. City officials assured that there are plans to relocate more than 25,000 residents to government subsidy housing in other parts of the suburb. Residents here are silent and have accepted the new RDP houses that they are being relocated to and are not fighting to protect their homes, as they pretty much accepted what's happening right now. However, he also expresses worries remaining people in the government subsidy houses may spark tension as people who previously owned houses were being moved to homes before those who have been on a waiting list for a long time. Just to give you an example, they had a pretty big sinkhole back in 1962 of December. West Dryfontein, I believe that's how you pronounce it, 180 feet in diameter and at least 98 feet deep. It claimed 29 lives. Check out the footage on watchers.news. And late winter storm dumps heavy snow on Calgary and much of Alberta's southern areas in Canada. Heavy snowfall engulfed Calgary and much of Alberta's southern areas on Friday, March 13th, 2020, as a late winter storm moved over the province. Now, a snowfall warning is in effect for Calgary until Saturday, March 14th. According to meteorologist Alyssa Peterson, the winter storm developing in the province is a combination of two events. First, there's a very cold Arctic air being pushed up by high winds from the mountains and foothills to build snow. In addition, moisture is being added near the mountains in Montana and Wyoming, producing more snow in the Alberta region. Environment Canada said snowfall with total amounts of 4 to 8 inches is falling in Calgary as the city is in the midst of a long period of snowfall. The agency has placed a warning for the area until Saturday. The Weather Bureau warned that road conditions and visibility may be affected in areas surrounding the city, including the mountain parks, are forecasted to be badly hit by the storm. More snow is predicted in this further south and near the mountains, accompanied by winds of 25 miles per hour with gusts at 38, said Peterson. Traveling in southern Alberta tonight and tomorrow is not recommended due to blowing snow conditions. Much of the southern province will see January-like wintry temperatures over the weekend. The air has come down from the Arctic, so it's going to be very cold for much of Alberta today. Just to give you an idea, folks, we're talking about temperatures at -2 degrees Fahrenheit, and then by late next week, they will have temperatures at 41 degrees, a balmy 26 degrees by Monday, which is going to feel a lot better than what we're expecting tonight. -9 degrees on Saturday in some spots in Calgary. So old man winter still hanging on with a little bit of grip, but nonetheless, cold and snow, lots of it to come here up in Calgary, Alberta. Worst storm hit since 1994 hits Egypt, causing widespread flooding and sandstorms. Now, believe it or not, Fox News actually talked about this for a brief moment. A powerful cyclone began affecting Egypt on Thursday, March 12, 2020, causing widespread flooding and sandstorms in which at least 5 people lost their lives. Authorities confirmed on Friday widespread damage has been reported, as well as water and power supply disruptions, road accidents, closures. Meteorologists noted that such intense storm has not affected the region since 1994. About 1 inch of rainfall was recorded in 24 hours in Ismailia City on the west bank of Suez Canal, while Mersa Matruth registered around 0.8 inches. Aside from heavy downpour and strong winds, the storm also blew Saharan dust across the nation, including along the Nile. At least 5 buildings were destroyed and 5 people lost their lives in weather-related incidents. The severe weather is also being blamed for a collision between 2 trains near Reims railway station or the Mizr near northern Giza, Cairo's main railway station. The crash left 13 people injured, but Ministry of Health confirmed that none of the injuries were critical. The Egyptian government declared a state of emergency on Wednesday, March 11, prior to the storm's arrival, and announced a paid holiday for Thursday, March 12th, not the 13th, allowing the public to remain indoors. Schools, public offices, train services were suspended until March 14th. Several key highways, public infrastructures, including international airports and seaports, were also closed. Kind of makes you feel like they're getting ready for something else. This is like a practice run for a possibility of extended closures if we see any problems with the virus over here in Egypt. According to Mohammed Sahin, director of the analysis department of the Egyptian Meteorology Authority, this level of instability in weather conditions with such strength has not happened since 1994. Moreover, the country depends on a 105-year-old drainage network and has no comprehensive rainfall drainage system. Over the next 24 hours, heavy rain and thunderstorms are forecast over Greater Cairo, Lower Egypt, the northwest coast, and the Sinai regions. The storm is moving northwestward as it expected to strike Israel in the following days. Authorities warn that winds are forecasted to reach 62 miles an hour in the mountainous areas and country's center and north areas as well, from the Judean hills to the Carmel Range. And check out some really interesting footage here, folks. Dust storms, flash flooding. Watchers.news has you covered, folks. As always. Lots of crazy weather going on around the world, that's for sure. Like I said, I saw this storm footage earlier on Fox News and talking about some unfortunate deaths that happened with this flood. I think there were some children, obviously, that were involved with some flooding deaths as well. Very sad there. Let's move on to our next story here, and that will be, well, we got more footage. So severe thunderstorms, large hail strikes part of the central U.S. Now, this was on March 11th, on Wednesday. Severe thunderstorms, hailstones up to 2 inches in diameter, hit parts of central U.S., including Illinois, Arkansas, Kentucky, nearby areas since Wednesday, March 11th. The storms resulted in power outages for about 3,000 customers, particularly in Garland County and Hot Springs. In Kentucky, hailstones were described as the size of quarters, about an inch in diameter, covering the highways. AccuWeather journalist and storm chaser Blake Nafty said the storm lasted for about 7 minutes. A very long storm here. Let's see if we can watch a little bit of this without getting in trouble. There's pea-sized hail here, nothing too crazy. Still, not something you want to hear on your car. A little bit heavier hail here in this footage. Again, pea to marble-sized hail falling in this footage. Spring is definitely here, guys. Starting to see that early spring severe weather already. Hail picks up a little bit here later in this footage. Still about marble size, nothing major. And here's Blake. He is an amateur storm chaser. AccuWeather. Good with the camera as well. And again, some more falling hail. Again, nothing outstanding. Some small pea-sized, marble-sized hail in this footage. Nice lightning there. See if we can see that one again. Wow. That's a heck of a shot. Whew. In Arkansas, a heavy hailstorm battered the northwestern region, including Sonora, on March 11th. Hailstones were reportedly an inch in diameter, with gusts reaching around 60 miles per hour. Among the worst hit areas was Bella Vista, where lightning and hail struck together. Bismarck, Izard County, Batesville, and Horseshoe Bend also had reports of hail. Almost 3,000 customers were left without electricity Thursday in Garland City and Hot Springs. And pea-sized to marble-sized hail, lightning. More footage from the Horseshoe Bend, Arkansas. That one's a little bit more intense. That kind of hail damage right there, the frequency of it, size, definitely warrants a phone call to your homeowner's insurance. Make sure you get those shingles checked, gutters checked. Anything that's compromised on your shingles and gutters, guys, that will warrant, it will phase out your warranty work on your homeowner's insurance. In other words, if you have a compromised shingle and you don't repair it, any damage that you get from moving forward won't be covered because you didn't attend to the damage that originally is the reason why you had the inside damage, which is due to your roof. But tons of footage, once again, weather or watchers.news. Go ahead and check this out once again. But as we talked about this area here for this week, midweek, well, next week, actually, I meant to go here first. Here we go. So forecasters put nation's heartland on alert for potential severe weather outbreak again. So this is already the beginning of a typical spring pattern. Now that colder air will sink further south into the northwest and reach parts of New Mexico. I showed you guys the other night where I thought we could see some heavy snow in Texas, parts of Texas. But this is almost a repeat of what we went through this week. Severe weather outbreaks across the same regions. Forecasters are monitoring several severe systems that could bring problems across the country through the weekend into next week, as weather makers may help to set the stage for potentially violent severe weather outbreak during the middle or latter part of next week. So Dallas, Little Rock, St. Louis, parts of Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas. Guys, watch out as more severe weather flooding to the Ohio Valley, Kentucky, Western Tennessee, all possible. Again, the same exact weather that we're looking at. In fact, you know what? I was going to talk about the moisture too that we're going to get in the West Coast. But really, I want to focus mainly on the severe outbreak, as we already are starting to talk about tornado numbers. And let's take a look. The averages for month to month. January, February, March, all pretty relatively low. Then you get into April, May, and June. These are the averages over the past several years. Now, the only problem I have with this chart is that it stops. It stops in 2010. So, but it talks a little bit about numbers here. AccuWeather's lead long-range forecaster Paul first warned in the February annual outlook that one cold snap lifts out of the Central Plains and lower Midwest by March, things could get unstable quickly, and we could have another active area there. More than double the average number of tornadoes is predicted in March. A typical total in April is roughly 10 to 30% more tornadoes average in May. There are an average of 75 tornadoes in March, 178 in April, and 269 in May, according to SPC records from 91 to 2015. So they are pretty much saying they're doubling the total for March, which is 75. So pretty bold prediction of 150 tornadoes possible for the month of March, but nonetheless, they are the weather experts, right? Okay. So, with that being said, we have moisture coming in on the West Coast. All you people out there who thought we were going to see a drought-like conditions for California, well, that's not the case. Several systems will be moving into California, bringing mountain snow and valley rain. And that's just what we want to see at this time of year. We don't want to hear anything about drought conditions. It's been dry a little bit, but this is the amount of moisture that we're going to expect here. Check out the mountain snow. We're talking 24 plus inches in the Sierras. Lots of rain, also 3 to 5 inches at the bottom of the foothills here. And then a general 1 to 2 inches across parts of San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Higher elevations will see snow, of course. Lower will see the rain. But to get around 1 to 3 inches generally across the most of the state of California, on top of that really healthy snow that we're getting in the mountains, I'd say drought-like conditions are no longer in effect here for California. As of March 10th, 2020, 48% of California is in a moderate drought. So they don't really need a miracle or heavy mountain snow this March, but it certainly would be welcomed, as I said here. California's driest February record followed a drier than average January. San Francisco and Sacramento received no precipitation in February, a month usually in the heart of the wet season. It was just the second time San Francisco recorded no precipitation in February, and the first such occurrence in Sacramento in records dating to the 19th mid-century. Yeah, but you know what? It's not that big of a deal. Jeez. Sorry for even reporting this. I just wanted to point out that whatever drought concerns people might have thought there was going to be. That's not going to be the case here, folks. Not at all. All right, so I got two weather maps to look at tonight. We're going to start in the United States, and then I got my friends over there in the European nations. Didn't forget about you this time. All right, sorry about that. Throat's getting a little dry here, folks. So here we are, GFS. System moving out of the northeast right now, mainly rain for parts of Maine, some snow in the higher elevations. But in the Four Corner states, rain and snow mix. Our friend Matt Bros got about 3 inches of snow tonight in Kansas, but that's all, or Nebraska, I should say. That's already mostly melted already. Snow across the same area, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota tomorrow, Saturday. Northwestern snow also as it moves out of Alberta into the Montana, Idaho area and Wyoming. And then it gets kind of dry here on Monday. Not a lot of action, but we do see a little bit of rain forming in the south once again. 2 waves, and by Wednesday, it gets a little bit more intense. That's where we could see the severe weather outbreak on Wednesday into Thursday. And then again on Thursday, Friday, parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois could also be in that range of severe weather. And then look at that little nicely defined low pressure system hitting the coast of California, bringing snow and rain once again to their forecast, and lots of rain building up across the Midwest into the southern states once again. Mainly a rain event for the Northeast, some snow in the front end for Maine, but as the system moves in, it also brings temperatures up a bit. More heavy rain to the south, though, this time in the southeastern parts of Tennessee, northwestern parts of South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama. The far northern parts could see the heaviest amounts of rain. Snow across the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, but then again, this is really kind of a complex system. Temperatures will be teetering on the edge, so we could see a mixture of rain and snow. And then GFS is indicating at the end of the month some kind of a significant snow in the northeast. It's not making up its mind yet on how much and where, but right now the timing shows that it looks like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine are the best chances for some significant snowfall at the end of March. Maybe upstate New York could pick up an inch or two, but the heavier parts of it seems like it moves past as cold air settles. And then by the end of March, another low pressure system marches across the United States. More rain and snow for the West Coast. Look at this. It doesn't stop really for California. So any fears of any drought is definitely going to be over for the West Coast here by the time we get to March 28th. More rain and snow inundating the West Coast. Another low pressure system marching across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, across Kentucky and Tennessee, and possibly bringing more wintry weather to the Northeast. Definitely Toronto will see some winter-like weather. But again, this is on a very, very fine line. Temperatures are teetering back and forth between freezing and above freezing. Let's go ahead and check out how much moisture we can expect here from this rainfall. Let's find it. Here we go. I think this is the one I want. Yep, here we go. So through the end of the month, quite a bit of rain in the south, especially along that Tennessee border with Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. That's where the most of the rain, and that is indicating that light yellow range, folks. That is near the 8-inch rain so 8 inches of rain parts of Tennessee and north and south, the border of Kentucky, and the border of Alabama, South Carolina, and Alabama expects the heaviest amount. A fair amount of rain expected for the Ohio River Valley. Also parts of Missouri, Illinois, Oklahoma as well. Healthy amounts of rain. The Northeast also seeing its fair share. Now, this is just, 16 days. So this isn't a full month worth of rain. This is just 16 days worth of rain that's being projected. And the light shading start at 2 inches all the way to shades of darker purple, which is around 5.5 inches of rain. Parts like southern Ohio looks like you're going to get close to 3 inches to 3.5 inches of rain. Parts across Missouri, the darker shades, we're looking at more like, 3 to 4 inches of rain. So just wanted to give you guys an idea what kind of moisture we're looking at. And here is the first wave by Monday. We're going to see more of that in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And then as we get into next week, and that's where more of the rain spreads further south, and gets even heavier in the later part of this forecast. Meanwhile, look at California. Well, there's plenty of moisture in the mountains and on the West Coast. I'm sure any concerns of any kind of drought will be over at that point. 48% in a moderate drought is not bad, especially in the next 16 days, the amount of rain that we could see, more than a month's worth. All right, let's check out our friends across the pond here. Oh, wait, before we do that, let me show the temperatures, and then I'll show you guys that. Because it is kind of a mostly spring type scenario for the most of the states, but the Northeast and the Northwest are still battling old man winter. So here we are on the 13th today, cold in the Northwest, the Northern Plains, and look at that cold air in Canada. Lots of minuses up there, and this is for Sunday, March 15th, but it doesn't quite make it to the lower 48, but it does give it a little bit of a push in the Northern Plains, keeping temperatures right around feeling like January and February instead of mid-March. And then the Northeast will also join in for that cold party towards the end of March. We'll have temperatures flirting with the 50s and then abruptly cooling off once again by the 22nd. In the Northeast, the Great Lakes, lows in the 20s, highs in the mid-40s. It's trying to warm up, folks. It's trying, but this persistent Arctic blast from the Arctic is keeping things a little cooler. And look at this, by March 25th, a big cold front could cool things down late in the month and possibly, just possibly, usher in a late March, possibly early April snowstorm. But those ideas right now are quickly fading when you look at this GFS temperature run. Or by the time we get to March 29th, we will be looking at 70s across the South and 80s as well, which would be a welcomed temperature range, considering what's going on around the world right now. So, all right, let's take a look at our friends across the pond. Europe, UK, temperature is pretty fair. They actually are pretty mild for a little bit right now, and that might be doing some good for places like Spain, France, southern Italy. Temperature is close to the 70s and 80s, which, this could help fight off the virus. We're not sure yet, but it could. But then as we get to mid-March, things start to cool off a little bit, surprisingly, in Europe. France, right there, here we are, spring-like temperatures on March 19th. And then this is when the cold starts coming in on the 21st of March. So late March, we see a rush of winter coming back, at least for the overnight hours. Temperatures staying rather cool, and overnight is below freezing. So what does this mean? This colder air, this surge of colder air towards the end of March, also kind of looking like how the U.S. is trying to heat up at the end of March, just like Europe is kind of struggling to heat up at the end of March. So I thought that was interesting. So the next few days, we're going to see some pretty mild temperatures attacking this region. But by the time we get to the 21st, well, we start to see a cold push. And that's making things feel more like March again, and maybe even late February in some parts of the area. Now, what does that mean for precipitation? Let's find out, shall we? Kind of dry while this mild weather is moving through. So that's the first part of good news. We're still mild here through the 18th. Of course, rain in Ireland and Scotland and Wales, but the UK, England looking pretty good, pretty dry. This is where we start to see that cold front, though. And now you notice a lot of that rain turning to snow in parts of Italy and other parts of Europe, and really dry for the UK and France and Spain. So that's sort of good news there. Kind of wet for Italy and other European nations. Snow and rain mixing in over the next several days to come. So dry for the most part during the warm weather that we're experiencing across Europe. And then once around March 21st happens, we'll start to see a little bit of a cold front, kind of dries things out a little bit in the north. But southern parts of Europe, like Italy and other neighboring countries, are going to experience rain showers, snow showers, high winds, and colder temperatures. And I know, like I said earlier, a lot of us were hoping for warmer temperatures to kind of ignite all over the world to help fight the spread of this virus. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. We're going to actually switch on over to our sister channel on WTF Sky and do a live report on the coronavirus and the update on the cases and just have an update on what has happened today on that. We want to kind of separate the two, folks. We understand that everywhere you look right now, it's about the virus. So we wanted to keep a segment mostly about grand solar minimum and the news that follows it. And then we also feel as a service that we should do an update, but maybe take it to a different venue. Folks, click on Mari's icon, the WTF Sky mod there, and that'll take you to the channel. Subscribe, and we will be live in about 10, 15 minutes. Give us a few to set up, 15, 20 minutes tops, but we need to get everything set up. Mari, would you like to say anything before we leave the air here on Grand Solar Minimum channel?
I'll keep it short. I just like to say hi to everyone. I just think it is a good idea to keep the GSM stuff on this channel and then move our alternate discussions over to WTF Sky. We have planned to do this for some time now, and there is no better time than now to do that.
Yep.
We'll probably be covering more political, more controversial topics, I believe, probably on WTF Sky, because we're not scared of algorithms.
No,
the channel can't get any worse.
They killed that channel a long time ago. So.
Algorithms. So, yeah, we're just going to move the more controversial stuff over to that channel to try to shelter and protect our Grand Solar Minimum research channel.
Yep. So click on Mari's icon, WTF Sky. Where's the faith sky? But I don't think that's what it really means, Mari.
It started off as Where's the Faith? And there's a long story behind that. I might share one of these days on that. And then as time went on, it wound up just turning into the real version of WTF. So
yep,
it is what it is.
Well, guys, make sure you go over to WTF Sky here in about 15, 20 minutes. Go ahead and click on Mari's icon, subscribe to the channel, and we will be doing a live stream here very, very shortly. Just give us a few minutes to set up, and we'll be right back. So thanks for joining us here at the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Again, everyone, please stay safe and just take care of each other, all right? Look out for one another. Be a good neighbor. State Farm will be there, I guess, right? All right. This is Jake from State Farm signing out. We'll see you in a little bit, guys.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.